Hey y'all, what's up? It's Erica, and welcome to my podcast, Faith Forward with Erica J. Fields. So I was talking to someone today, and we were talking about how, when you're working full time, but you have an entrepreneurial dream, it's hard to balance all of the things, including your personal life. And what I want to talk about today is how to set and achieve your goals. How to set and achieve your goals. And one might think that, hey, just set the goal and work on it. But sometimes it's not as simple as just saying that, because everyone knows that when you have a dream, when you have a goal, a lot of times there's a lot of challenge that comes with that. And oftentimes your goal or your dream is larger than what you can do on your own and within your own self. But there are a lot of things that you can do to help set yourself up for success. Habakkuk in the Bible, in Habakkuk, the prophet writes this. And this is the voice of God, he's speaking. It says, write the vision. Write the vision. Some translation says, write the vision and make it plain, so that the readers of it might run with it. And I paraphrase that a little bit, but you go read it yourself. I grew up in church, and I've heard that preached and taught so many different times. But I can't tell you enough that when it came to my own personal life, it didn't click when it came to my personal goals and my entrepreneurial endeavors. And when I say it didn't click, what I'm saying is, it made sense to me, right? It made sense. I'll write down the goals that I have. I'll write down the vision for the business. I'll write down the vision for the ministry. When it came to ministry, it's like, let's do that, and that's how we're going to operate. But when it came to business, it was like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And I would write it in my journals. I would write it in a notebook that I set aside for business notes. I would have it written in my computer, in the notes in my computer. But can I tell you that it didn't really click for me until I did a vision board. Now, let me tell you, I've been wanting for the past maybe 3 or so years. I've been telling myself, probably since 2020, I've been telling myself, hey, you need to do a vision board. This is what you need to do. This is going to help you make sense. And I'm saying I've been telling myself, but I believe that God was speaking to me about doing a vision board to help me focus on my future, to help me focus on my goals, to help me focus on working toward all of the things that God had wanted to achieve for me. And one of my mentors, even back then in 2020, really 2018, back before that, one of my mentors that I have in ministry does a vision board every year on her birthday. She does a vision board every year on her birthday. And every year when her birthday does come, she looks at the vision board of the previous year to see how far she's come, to evaluate how far she's come, what she needs to be working on, what she needs to be praying about, etc., etc., etc. And I always look at her, and she's accomplished so much. She's an amazing trailblazer, and I'm so honored to have her in my life and be a mentor for me. And those are divine relationships. We're going to talk about relationships later, but she's always done them. She's always done these vision boards. And I'd be like, I need to do it. And she'd be like, you need to do it. And it wasn't until last year I have a mentor in the area of business, really entrepreneurship, who challenged me to do a vision board. And I was like, okay, because I've been always wanting to do it. And got that challenge, immediately I went out to the craft store, got some supplies, and created my vision board. Snapped a picture of it, sent it to my entrepreneurship mentor for accountability's sake. That's another thing. We're going to talk about that too. For accountability's sake, though. And immediately, I put it on the wall. Told me to put it on the wall. Mentor told me, put that on the wall. Put it on the wall where I can see it every day. It's on one of the walls in my bathroom because I go in there every day. And I know that I'm going to look at it when I go there. And it has changed the way I operate concerning my goals, concerning my dreams, concerning my future. The scripture says, write the vision, make it plain so that the readers of it can run with it. When I put my goals and my dreams on my vision board and I hung the vision board on the wall, I realized when it says so that the readers of it can run with it, it's not just talking about your team. It's starting with you. It starts with you. Because once you see those things on that vision board, you begin to realize it's going to take X, Y, Z to accomplish those things. One of the things on my vision board is to become healthier. Well, if I want to accomplish that line item on my vision board, I can't just pray about it and take no action about it. There's some things I have to do to achieve that goal. You can't pray about being an author and not write the book. You got to do some writing. You've got to do some writing in order to achieve that goal. So I realized that when it says the readers of it will run with it, that the readers of it included the writer of it. The reader of it included the writer of it. It includes me. When I write my vision down, when I put it on the vision board, and I can see what I wrote, I can see the goal written down, I can see what I want to obtain every single day I walk by it, it changes my mindset. Because if every day I have to look at it, if I put it in the notebook somewhere, guess what? As busy as my schedule is, that can slip to the back of my mind. But when I put that thing on a wall that I have to look at every day, in my mind, I'm assessing, what have I done lately to position myself to accomplish these goals? What have I done lately to position myself to accomplish these goals? What have we done to position ourselves to accomplish the goals, the dreams, the vision that God has given to us? So the first thing we have to do, we got to write it down. We got to make it plain so that the reader of it, that includes you and I, can run with it. We can get in our mind what we need to be doing so that we can position ourselves to accomplish what God has placed before us. It is important. It is important to the process of achieving those goals, those dreams, and realizing the vision of God manifesting in our lives. Here's another thing. Be specific. Be specific about your goals. Can I be honest? I have been challenged in this area of being specific about my goals. Here's why. I don't want to fail. And I think when you're able to be so specific as to quantify your goals, as to set a date as to when you want to see it happen, it can be discouraging to come to that point. That it can be discouraging to set a number. I want this many amount of downloads on my podcast, and I don't see that number happen within a certain time frame. But here's the thing. You know what I realized? I've realized this, that when we quantify, when we set dates, it gives us something to run after so that the readers of it can run with it. It gives us something to run towards. It helps to motivate us towards doing everything you can to accomplish that thing within your own power, and then leaning on God to handle the rest of it. So it really is a faith exercise. Do I trust that where I'm lacking, God can make up? Do I trust God to help me get there, to help me accomplish the dream? Here we go. It's His vision. It's His vision. All we have to do is our part. We got to do our part. Here's the other thing about being specific about your goals and your dreams, especially if you're measuring growth. When you don't meet the mark of growth that you measured, guess what it does for you? It causes you to go back and evaluate why weren't you able to meet that growth goal? What are the factors involved? So it causes you to take a step back, to analyze, to do some research. And what is all that? It's still you working towards the dream. It's still you working towards the goal. What it says is, I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. You know what? On the first try, we didn't get the number that we were shooting for. But guess what? We're going to reevaluate. We're going to do some research. We're going to talk to some people that are in the field doing what we're trying to do. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to try again. Why? Because you believe that you can. And you believe that if God is backing this thing, that it will happen. It will happen. It will happen. So be specific. Here's the next thing. Set. I love this. Set micro goals. Set micro goals and celebrate the wins, the small wins along the journey. There was a season of my life I was doing ministry, and the context was a little bit challenging. Sometimes God will plant you and assign you to a place where the people they want to do things their own way. They don't want to do things God's way. You're trying to come in and do things God's way. You know, you're doing all the thing with the leadership perspective that you learned, that you read all the leadership information and got your leadership philosophies together, and you're applying good leadership principles, and you're not changing things too quickly. You're listening, you're being understanding, you're making incremental changes. You understand that culture changes takes a long time, all that stuff like that, right? You're praying, you're fasting, you're doing all that. But the people just a real Moses moment. Can I be honest? Just a real Moses moment. People just hard-headed, stubborn, complaining too much, and thinking that they can do what God's chosen one was chosen to do. Hear me, because there's some leaders out there right now. You're in the same predicament. You're in the same predicament. All I can tell you is keep praying, keep interceding for those people, because God chose you to lead those people. God chose you to shepherd those people. God assigned you to those people for a reason, for a season, and for a purpose. You stay in place. You stay in position, because I guarantee you, you think you're not making an impact. You're making a bigger impact than you know. Because it'll be years later, as somebody from that group of people that you were called to will come to you and tell you how impactful you were in their life. God is using you, despite how it feels, despite the obstacles, despite the opposition. God is using you. You were anointed for such a people as you're called to. You were anointed. You were chosen for such a time as this. I'm preaching. And I had someone tell me one time, you got to celebrate the small wins. Celebrate the small wins. Take a moment to pause and celebrate the small wins. Celebrate when you made some progress towards your dream and your goals. Celebrate it. Here's the other one. You gotta practice what you preach. That's not the point. But gotta practice what I preach. I wrote on my Instagram page, be consistent. So if I'm putting that out there for the world to see, but I'm not showing up. Posting on social media has been a struggle for me. At the same time, I realized that God has called me to this space. God has called me to the space of the digital space, the space of social media, because there's a message, there's a people that is assigned to my voice, and there's a message that He will share with them through me. And when you realize that you're just a vessel that God is using, you just got to avail yourself to Him. You just choose to avail yourself to Him. And so I realized that if I'm not present on social media, how can God use my voice to reach the people that He's assigned to me? And so I have to be consistent. Gotta be consistent. So here's the next thing. Get into position. I talked about this a little bit before, but you really have to put yourself in position. You need to get connected to the people that you need to get connected to. You need to, if it requires school, go to school. If it's a business, find you a mentor. If it's a business, what are the things you need to do to get that business started? Work on those things. If it's ministry and God is calling you to plant, listen, get out there and do it. Get out there and do it. Get out there and obey God. Do it. Get into position. If there's a networking organization that you need to become a part of so that you can connect with some people that are doing some things that you are striving towards doing, so that you can connect with some people that perhaps are needed to fill in the gaps, to fill in the things that you don't have the skills for, get into position. Here's the last thing I want to talk about. Pray for it. Pray for the vision, because the vision is God's vision. The vision is God's vision. He could choose anyone to do it, but He decided to choose you. Listen, and believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Sometimes we get in our own way because we don't believe that we're good enough. We don't believe that we're worthy. We didn't believe that God would really choose us. Hear me. God has chosen you. God has given you an assignment. God has given you a vision, and you are capable of carrying it out. You are capable. You are good enough. You are who God wants. You are who God has chosen. Stop worrying about it. Forget about the past. Forget about what didn't work out. Forget about the mistakes you made. You are the one that God has called to carry out His vision. So get busy doing it. Get busy doing it. Set the goals. Write the vision. Make it plain for the readers of it, including yourself, including you and I'm talking to myself too, can run with it. We can move towards it with such a motivation, with such a fire, with such a passion that we can see God do something amazing in our lives. That's all I got for you today. Faith forward. Let's go.